You're ready to go?
No, I messed something up. Wait, I messed something up. Go back.
Ready?
Okay. How's everyone doing today? My name is Louis DiMatteo. We're going to be talking about performance and motivation. With me, we have Megan Leiner, Ethan Rosen, Jake Fratz, and myself, Brianna Sokol, Brianna Fester, and Nicole Wazerman. Okay, so employee motivation. Today we're going to be talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs first, and then next we'll be talking about Daniel Pink's What Motivates People. Okay, so what is it? Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So basically with this, there's going to be 5 different stages to this. In order for you to go to each stage, you have to complete the first one. So we have to start with the psychological, then the, can't see from here, safety, belongingness, esteem, and self-actualization. So to start with, we have the basics. The basics would be anything such as food, water, shelter, anything that you need to basically provide a basic living of life. So then next, we'll go on to the next step, which would be safety needs. Excellent. Okay. So basically, am I going in the correct direction? So in this, with the safety needs, we're more concerned about our overall safety as a person when it comes to the physical safety, along with monetary, investments, housing, making sure we're living in a safe area, anything that falls underneath of that category. So then we're going to be going to emotional needs, which is our sense of belonging. This is the third stage. So with the third stage, this is when we get into our friendships, we get into any sort of relationships, family, anything of that sort of nature would fall under the emotional needs section of that. And then on the fourth stage, we have the esteem needs. So this is how am I doing? This is when we actually review with how we are as a person, if we're satisfied with where we're going with our careers, our personal lives, anything like that. As you see from here is I won't, I can't, I want to do it, how to, I'll try, I can, and I will, and I did. So this is the overall, this is the fourth stage, second to the last. And then self-actualization is the top. This is not the end of it. This is the pinnacle point at where we basically realize who we are and where we're belonging in our community and what we're doing. So that's the top. Once you're there, that's when true growth actually begins. So next, Dan Pink, what motivates people? So we're going to be talking about something a little bit more in depth here, what actually motivates us to do what we do every day. And this is also known as the new theory of motivation. So the old theory, more money means better motivation. This used to be the theory that we practiced. We figured if you wanted someone to do better, then you would pay them more money. So in old situations, such as working in factories, any sort of physical labor, that held true. Basically, if you paid someone more, they did a better job, they got a higher profit from that. However, basically, again, with where that does hold true, the do this, get this tasks, as I like to call them. So basically, if you have, for example, if you have someone who's working in a factory, they're putting out, if they're making jackets, for example, if you want them to create more jackets or something of that nature of manual labor, then you would give them more money and then say you get an extra $5 for every product that you create today. That will push out more of a force. But in modern day, we're doing something with primary cognitive skills. Requires much more critical thinking, teamwork, team building, everything of that nature, and it's no longer like that. So basically, we found out during this study that people who work with cognitive skills fail when it comes to higher monetary wages. So what do we need to do? So basically, we need to give you enough money to take it off the table for you not to be concerned about. So once that's not a thought in your mind, that's when we can actually continue the process of motivation, because you can't make too little and you can't make too much. So we have 3 factors of motivation. We have autonomy, mastery, and purpose. So basically, with these 3 factors, this is what we found to be the new theory. So with that said, these are the 3 things that actually motivate people instead of monetary concerns by this point. So the first one, self-direction. Self-direction is the key to mastery, leading into the next one. But self-direction is basically, what am I doing, why am I here, and what is my purpose? So that's really breaking down, because people want to feel like you're doing something important. We don't want to go to work and just think that we're here to do something. We want to see a bigger overall picture. So then that would be leading into the key of the mastery, which is the urge to perfect a skill. People who do cognitive work on a daily basis, it actually shows that in their personal time, their free time, they tend to do more things that are actually more challenging than what they do on a daily basis. Why? Because this is part of the mastery skill. It's like someone who learns how to play an instrument. They're not getting paid on their free time to do this, but at the same time, it's a skill, and it's nice to see improvement from that. And then the overall purpose. Having purpose also attracts talent. So when a company has purpose, the mission statement basically is, what do you stand for? What are you doing to make our world a better place, is what it comes down to. So we have companies who focus on green technology to make sure that our environment is safe. We have companies who donate, things of that nature. So a personal experience of mine with employee motivation. At my location, when I took over, I had a couple employees that were not motivated at all to work. They didn't want to come to work. They were extremely negative, and I had to find a way, being the new person who took over the location, to fix that. So what I did was, I tried to instill the mastery subject of this to them, because they didn't really look at it as something that they could improve on. So once they realized that this was actually a skill, once they were able to improve on that skill, they began to build, and the team actually all came together, and from that, sales were generated and profit was created from there. So next we're going to have, what's next? Solution, results, negative effect, and poor incentive, by Nicole Wasserman.
Should have taken me more time to get up here. So I'm going to talk to you about negative effect and poor incentives. Some key aspects of that is morale when you work on with a job that is commission-based, and your attitude and motivation. These are all aspects that will either be negative or positive in your work environment, and they're all very crucial. Managers' effects on a workplace morale. If you have a manager, you're a manager, and you are demanding work, it's gonna like stress your employees out, so it's not good for them. If you're unappreciative of their work, they're gonna notice that, and if you're not supporting what they do, they will notice that too, and that will lead them to be more negative. Morale is emotional or a mental condition with respect to cheerfulness, confidence, zeal, etc., especially in the face of opposition, hardship, etc. But so basically, as a manager, you need to be able to motivate and like boost your employees' morale, because that's when when you and the company will benefit most. And these are some negative things that will lower morale in your workplace. So lack of honest, open communication, micromanaging, failure to recognize your employees, excessive workloads, fear of a job loss, and other things. But things that can boost that is better communication with your employees. Monetary rewards, so like giving them a reward for doing better, maybe motivating them a little bit. Some team building and bonding activities, so you guys get more comfortable together. And additional days off, maybe it'll give them more of an incentive. So motivation is the reason or reasons one has for acting or behaving in a particular way. Everyone has different things that motivate them. You can motivate yourself. You can have someone that motivates you. There are different things that motivate people. I'm motivated differently than maybe some of my team members are, and that's okay. But motivation is what gets you through things. And there's 4 kinds of motivation, and the one that you want to be a part of is, I really want to write this report. You shouldn't have to say, I only am writing this report because I don't want to get fired. Maybe if I write this report, I'll get a bonus. I just don't want to write this report at all. So you want to be ahead of the game. Commission-based work is where there are some more problems, because I feel like it's all financial. And some negative effects is self-motivation. If you're not making money off of your commission, then you're going to be discouraged. And with commission, it's sub-optimized, which means you only work for yourself. Managers or supervisors, normally will only care about themselves when it comes to commission, because either way, they make money off their own deals. They're not really getting anything out of if you make a deal or a deal goes through with you, so it doesn't matter to them whether you succeed or not, or land a deal, which really was important to you. A real life experience with that is one of my friends just became a financial advisor. He's a new employee at a company, and right now he has to work alongside his manager, so his manager needs to go on all his meetings with him. But if his manager doesn't want to go, then he has to cancel his meeting, and he loses out on that opportunity. Poor training. If you do not train your employees properly, they are going to be confused, and it is going to stress them out. If they don't know what to do, they are going to be so stressed out and just afraid that you're like judging them on everything you do when you didn't train them properly, so it wasn't necessarily their fault. Tips to help train employees better is repetition, making things interesting, and feedback. Whether your feedback is positive or negative, hearing what you feel and like how they are doing will help them. If you tell them, well, you're slacking a little bit in this, they will most likely like do better and try harder. Incentives work both negatively and positively, because incentives is something that you give someone for doing something. So with incentives, people get used to, like, if I write this report, then, oh, you'll give me a bonus, or you let me leave early. So when incentives become negative, because it only buys temporary compliance from your employees. So if you are only rewarding them if they do good, then they're just going to expect it all the time. They're not going to just want to do good to do good. They're going to want to do good because you're giving them a reward for it. And respect is the biggest thing, whether it's at the workplace or just in life in general, because you need to show positive respect to people that you work with, because it shows that you are recognizing all their hard work that they are doing, and you need to be able to give them supportive feedback. You can't just knock them down all the time. And your employees, as a manager, you need to have your employees trust you. You are the leader of them. They need to be able to know that they can come to you with any problems that they may have, and you need to be considerate of their feelings. You can't, like I said, you can't just knock your employees down if they're not doing well, because that will affect the company as a whole. Negative attitudes will definitely ruin a company, because it will decrease your employees' work ethics. You will find customers are not satisfied with your work, and you will find that you're just not being considerate of others, and other employees may not be considerate of each other too. So then you may come into problems within your employees themselves, that they're not like being respectful towards each other, which can be a hard time, because if your company and your employees are not working well together, then you're not going to be able to be successful, and you're not going to be able to go anywhere higher. Negativity, poor training, and lack of motivation in the workplace can cause more harm than managers may realize, because positivity, I've had it in experience. If my manager is in a bad day, he will come in, if he's having a bad day, he will come in the worst mood ever, and he takes it out on us. And that is one of the most discouraging things that you can do as a manager. But next up we have Jake France, and he will talk to you about teamwork.
How you guys doing? I'm Jake. I'm going to be talking about teamwork. So first up, what is teamwork? So teamwork is when a group of people work together cohesively toward a common goal, creating a positive working atmosphere and supporting each other to combine individual strengths to enhance team performance. All right, so some teamwork guidelines, some things to follow. Effective communication, communicating openly and supportively, having a team working agreement, having expectations for every team member, having effective meetings, having meeting guidelines and following them, and project management, have an end goal and a plan to get there. So characteristics of effective teamwork include exploring connections, bringing things together, ideas, peoples, and skills, taking on fresh challenges, supporting new skills development, and renewing strengths. Some more characteristics here. encouraging individuals to experience flow in what they do, promoting innovation, being outward looking toward the future, supporting one another, and monitoring performance.